everyone, this is Nim Kolkar. I am going to wait as always to make sure that Facebook Live has kicked in and that you're all able to hear me. Okay, so let's just wait. One thing I hate doing is just staring at the screen while I'm waiting for everyone to log on, but unfortunately there's usually a 20-second delay, I believe, when I go live before all of you are notified, which means I have to stare into the camera for a bit in silence, which I hate doing. But anyway, we shall wait. So a few people are logging in, which is great. You all know the drill. There are many of you who've been joining me on Sunday Chats with Nim for the last 2.5, 3 years that I've been doing this show. So what I love is when you drop me a quick comment to say hi Nim, and even tell me where you're logging in from, because it just makes it so much more enjoyable for me when I'm doing this show. All right, so don't forget to say hi to me, and I promise to say hi back to you as long as you say hi during the live session. Alrighty, so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Nim Kolkar. I'm an author, international speaker, and a success coach based in Sydney, Australia. And one of the highlights is the fact that book number 4 is scheduled for launch on the 29th of November. So countdown has begun and I'm pretty excited. So it is book number 4. It is a self-help book which is designed to motivate you to step outside your comfort zone, to stop drifting, and to finally do all the things that you envision yourself doing during your time on this planet. All right, because one of the things I am passionate about is helping people stop drifting and actually start living. Alrighty, so Sunday Chats with Nim is my weekly Facebook Live show, which I've been doing for the last 2.5 years. Every week I come live and talk about topics that help you get ahead, either in the personal or in the professional space. And now that we are approaching the end of the year, goodness, that's gone so quick. 2021 is right around the corner. Typically, it is a time when a lot of people start making resolutions, which unfortunately they break within 4 days of making those resolutions. But today's session is mainly one where I want to talk about setting the right goals for the new year, because it's not setting goals is important, but setting the right goals is far more important. And when you set goals that are meaningful, then you are motivated to work on them. Okay, so usually all my coaching is action oriented, because I'm someone who believes that you need to take action if you want to see change in your lives. A lot of people complain that, you know, they're not happy with their lives, they're not happy with their careers, they're not happy with their relationships, and yet they're not willing to take the action steps that are required to get them from point A to point B. So my friends, it's time to stop giving yourselves excuses, gear up for the new year, and today we're going to talk about 3 personal goals that you can set for yourself in the new year, and I'm also going to give you some examples. Hi Poonam, how are you? Hi Juhi, good morning to you too. Well, it's good afternoon, or rather nearly good evening here in Sydney, but I'm assuming, Juhi, that you are logging in from India, where it is around 11:30 in the morning. Alrighty, so don't forget to say hi to me, guys, as you join in. So today I'm going to share with you 3 personal goals that you need to set for yourself for the new year. These are goals that I set for myself every single year. Okay, so I'm going to give you a sneak peek into 3 of my favorite goals that I always set for myself every new year. As I approach the new year, these are 3 goals. They are personal goals that I set for myself, and I make sure that I act on them. and it has worked for me. So I can assure you that if you set these same goals for yourself, you're going to start seeing some positive changes in everyday life. Okay, now as I talk, you know I love questions. So if you have a question that you want to ask me, of course related to the topic I'm talking about, not something completely unrelated, all you need to do is pop it in the comments, and hopefully I get to read it while the session is still on. I can't answer questions after the live session has ended, as you will appreciate. So try, if there's anything you really want to ask me, please do so while the live session is on. All right. So personal goal number 1, and I'm going to share 3 of them with you today. Personal goal number 1 that you need to set for yourself for 2021 is assess your friends circle. Assess your circle of friends and recognize the frenemy that's there in your friend circle, if at all there is one. It is not compulsory, but many of us have what are known as frenemies. A frenemy is an enemy who is disguised as a friend. I love that term, frenemy. It just sounds so fancy, but all it means is an enemy who is disguised as a friend. Now, if you have a frenemy in your friend circle, and usually there's only one, hopefully, if you have even one frenemy in your friend circle, trust me, that's going to stop you from achieving your major life goals. Now, this does not mean that every time you assess your friend circle, you're going to discover that there's been a frenemy in there. I'm not saying that's the case at all. But it's important for you to assess your friend circle every now and then, just to make sure that you are spending time with the right people. This is a great time in our lifetimes, you know, when we've been in lockdown, when we've not been socializing as much as we used to pre-COVID-19. It is a great time to do some self-reflection. It is a great time to think about all the people you used to socialize with before lockdown. It is a great time for you to think about who are these people that you feel compelled to call your friends. Now, I hope that after you do your assessment of your friend circle, that you find out that every single person you call your friend is in fact exactly that, someone who has your best interests at heart. But you must go through this exercise, because many times people have discovered that there has been a frenemy in their friend circle, an enemy disguised as a friend. And then people wonder why they don't achieve their long-term goals. Then they wonder why they don't feel good about themselves. That's because one wrong friend can ruin it all for you. You know, years ago, I figured out that there was one person who was constantly dragging me down because of her negativity. There was one person who was never happy about anything I achieved, you know, and I began to realize that this so-called friend does not have my best interests at heart. And because I was spending so much time with this so-called friend, I wasn't really getting anything done in my life. I wasn't achieving my goals. You learn to start thinking like the people you spend time with. Isn't that true? Wouldn't you agree? Let me throw out this question to you so there's a bit of interaction between us. Would you agree that if you spend a lot of time with certain types of people, there is always a danger that you begin seeing life through their lens, or you start thinking like they do, or you start believing things are impossible based on what they think is impossible? Let me just wait while you type in some of your responses. Would you agree that it's very important to know who we're spending time with? Because we learn to think like the people we spend time with. Hi Rachna. Hi Jyoti. Usha says yes. I say yes too. I think it is very easy for us to get carried away and to start thinking thoughts that our friends teach us to think. Vaishali says absolutely true. So what I want you to do is, how do you recognize who is a frenemy? How do you find out who is a true friend and who is an enemy who is disguised as a friend? There are 2 dead giveaways that will tell you who that frenemy is. Okay, if you have a friend who is never happy about your achievements, who is in fact even a little jealous about anything good that happens in your life, who tries to come up with all kinds of reasons why you are successful rather than giving you credit for the real reasons, then that person most likely is your frenemy. It's the enemy disguised as a friend. So I really want you to spend an hour or 2 in the coming week reflecting on all your different friendships and try to think, is there any particular friend who never has anything good to say whenever you achieve success, who never has genuine praise to give when you're happy or when good things are happening in your life, right? I know this one woman who told me that her so-called best friend, every time this other woman achieved something at work, every time she did well or got a promotion, her best friend would say things like, oh, it's easy for you to get promoted because you've got your in-laws who are staying with you and they look after the kids. You know, someone like me has to look after my kids all the time, and so I don't have this luxury of reaching out for promotions. You know, in my view, that person is a frenemy because she does not give credit to her friend where credit is due. Okay, so the first sign that this so-called friend of yours might be a frenemy instead of a friend is the fact that they are jealous of your achievements, or they resent your success, or they don't genuinely appreciate every time you hit your life goals. So if you're spending time with someone who is resentful or jealous or doesn't appreciate all the hard work you've put in to get where you are today, chances are that person is not a true friend. The second sign that there is a frenemy in your midst is this friend who says really hurtful and mean things to you, about you, but it is disguised as humor. Oh my goodness, that is my pet peeve, my pet hate, when people do that. When they pretend that they're being funny and humorous, but then they say things that really stab you in the heart. So if you have a friend who says really hurtful things to you, but then tries to pretend it's all said in good humor, chances are that person is a frenemy. So it's very, very important for you to assess your friend circle. So that is personal goal number 1 you need to set for 2021. Because after the horrid year we've all had in 2020, I know that lots and lots and lots of people are looking forward to the new year, and they are setting some very lofty goals for themselves. But if you are hanging out with the wrong kind of friends, there's not much hope for you to achieve those lofty goals you are setting for yourself in 2021. So before you do anything else, the first personal goal I would highly recommend you do, and I do that each year, is assess your friend circle to find out if there is a frenemy in the midst. A frenemy, like I said at the start, is an enemy disguised as a friend. Now, chances are, after you assess your friend circle, you will find out that, thank goodness, there is no frenemy, which is great. You are blessed. It's not compulsory to have a frenemy in the midst, but a lot of people go through life completely unawares, completely unaware of the fact that there is someone in their friend circle who actually does not have their best interests at heart, and then they wonder why they are not achieving more. Okay, so hopefully that point is clear. Hi Archana, how are you? So like I said at the start, don't forget to say hi to me. I love to say hi back to you. So that was personal goal number 1. Personal goal number 2 is, in the new year, decide to let go of one bad habit of yours. Whenever we set goals or make resolutions for the new year, it's all about learning a new skill. It's always about doing something new, which is all great. But what I like to do every year, one of the personal goals I set for myself is, of course, the first one, which is I always assess my friend circle to make sure that I'm surrounded by the right people, positive people, proactive people, people who are not afraid to dream big, people who don't stop me from dreaming big. Okay, so that's my first personal goal. The second goal is I always think of one bad habit that I may have, which I need to let go of. Now, research has shown that typically it takes 21 days for you to consistently work on a bad habit or work on a good habit before you start seeing change. Unfortunately, a lot of people give up well in advance. They try for 2 or 3 days to work on a bad habit, don't see much results, and then they give up. Trust me, if you stick at it for 21 days consistently without taking a break, you will see the first glimmer of hope. Okay, so your next personal goal is, think of one bad habit of yours that has been annoying you for a while, or that you know annoys everybody else around you and makes life miserable for everyone else around you, and you know at the bottom of your heart that it's a habit that hasn't been serving you for the last so many years. I want you to decide what that one bad habit is and then start working on eliminating that bad habit. Don't get too ambitious and pick 4 or 5 bad habits of yours. Like, if you're like most of us, we all have at least half a dozen bad habits that are not really serving us, or that are standing in our path, or that are, an obstacle in our path. But I don't want you to get that ambitious. Okay, just pick one bad habit and decide to start eliminating it. I've got some really interesting quotes about goals that I wrote down for you. One is by Napoleon Hill, who wrote that amazing book, Think and Grow Rich. If you haven't read that book by Napoleon Hill, please do over the summer break. So Napoleon Hill once said, "One bad habit often spoils a dozen good ones." And that is so incredibly true. You might have some fantastic, amazing good habits, but if you have one bad habit that is really bad, it can ruin all those dozens of good habits of yours. Okay, so for 2021, pick one bad habit of yours that is super annoying to you and the people around you, and start working on that. Another person who wrote an amazing quote on goals is Charles Duhigg, the author of the amazing book, The Power of Habit. Again, a book, if you've not read, please do. It will transform your life. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. He said, "Change might not be fast, and it isn't always easy. But with time and effort, almost any habit can be reshaped." So important, that bit about with time and effort, almost any habit can be reshaped. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they start working on their bad habits, expect instant results. And when they don't see instant result, of course, they are demotivated and they give up all that hard work. Okay, so in life, anything that is worth achieving is not going to be easy. Let me burst that bubble once and for all. A lot of people are going through life with that misconception that they should only ever attempt things that are easy. Every time I suggest people do something, they often tell me, "Oh, Nim, easier said than done. If only it were that easy." What is this obsession with things being easy before we attempt them? Why? Why does everything have to be easy before we do it? If it was that easy, don't you think you would have achieved it by now? If everything worth having was easy, we wouldn't have so much misery in this world. Okay, so once and for all, accept this bitter truth about life, that if something is worth having, it's not going to be easy. You'll simply have to grit your teeth and step outside your comfort zone and do things that you're afraid to do. Because like I always say, confident people were not born confident. They became confident by facing their fears and learning to do the very things that they fear. Okay, so your second goal for 2021, I would suggest, is let go of one bad habit. Pick one habit that is causing maximum damage in your life. Don't pick a habit that is wishy-washy, that won't make much impact whether you give it up or don't give it up. Pick a habit that has been holding you back, that has been annoying the people you love, and that you need to let go of. And then start taking action steps to eliminate that habit from your lifestyle. Like I said earlier, whether you're building a good habit or you're letting go of a bad habit, it takes 21 days of consistent action before you can start seeing the smallest of change. So don't give up before those 21 days are up. And the third and final personal goal I'm going to share with you today, because it's nearly 4:30 and typically this show goes on for half an hour. So I'm going to try and wrap it up soon. The third personal goal for 2021 that I personally would suggest for you and that I practice myself is think about regret minimization. Okay? Ask yourself, what is that one thing that you will regret not having done during your time on this planet at the end of your journey when time is up? What is that one goal that you feel you must work on? Because if you don't do it, then you will look back years later and wish you were 20 years younger so that you could get started on it. Okay, always ask yourself that. Some of my clients have said that one goal is, for some of them, it was starting their own business, something that they've been wanting to do for the longest time. Maybe 2021 is the year that you do that. For some, it was to run a marathon. For some, it was to hold an embroidery exhibition, their first exhibition. For some of them, it was writing a book. So pick one goal that you think you would really regret not achieving at the end of your time on earth. Now, many people live as though they're going to live forever. And they keep postponing their dreams because they think, oh, there's plenty of time, when the kids are grown up and the mortgage is paid off and everything is just perfect. Well, it's not going to happen. That day will never arrive when everything is perfect. What is going to happen for sure is the fact that you will have lived most of your life and you will have run out of tomorrows. Everything will be yesterday. There will be no more tomorrows. Okay, and then you will be filled with regret. So I want you to ask yourself, just take some time and reflect and ask yourself, what is this one thing that I've always wanted to do in life, but I've never done because of excuses I've been giving myself, or never done because I thought the kids were too young, or never done because I thought, I have elderly parents to look after. Always a reason not to pursue that dream. And yet that at the end of the journey, you are going to be filled with remorse and regret that you never even gave it a try. It's not compulsory, my friends, that everything you attempt to do, you will achieve at the end of your journey. But the satisfaction of knowing that you at least gave it a shot. The satisfaction of knowing that you did not give yourself excuses. That is a worthy and meaningful goal. Okay, so I want you to think about one specific goal that you will definitely regret not achieving at the end of your journey, and then spend 2021 taking action steps to work on that goal. So I'm going to wrap up with a beautiful quote by one of my favorite authors, Mark Twain, who said, "Without dreams and goals, there is no living, only merely existing. And that is not why we are here." That is so true, my friends. We have been given the human birth, which is the highest form of evolution, and yet so many of us just fritter it away. So many of us are merely drifting instead of living. So many of us are constantly giving ourselves excuses instead of moving ahead and making our dreams come true. Okay, so in summary, I'm going to quickly wrap up and tell you those 3 personal goals you need to set for yourself for 2021, goals that I personally set for myself each year. First, assess your friend circle to figure out if there is a frenemy inside your friend circle. A frenemy is an enemy disguised as a friend. Goal number 2, let go of one bad habit and work on eliminating it consistently for 21 days. Goal number 3, think about regret minimization. Pick one thing that you know you will regret not having done while you are alive and start acting on it while you still have time. So hopefully you all enjoyed today's session. It's always a pleasure interacting with you all. Thank you for joining me and spending a slice of your Sunday afternoon with Sunday Chats with Nim. And I'll see you very again in a week's time. Oh, by the way, next week, Sunday the 29th, is when my 4th book, Success Cafe, gets launched. So I'm pretty excited. So we'll try and do a little Facebook Live of the book launch so that you all can get to share in that moment. And NIMS Media, which is my newly launched publishing company, we're also launching a new author, Paul McKenzie. So Paul, if you're watching, congratulations. Paul's new book, Property and Conveyancing Made Easy, is also being launched on 29th of November. And we're hoping that you all get a copy of his book. I'm sure you'll enjoy reading it because it is an incredible read. Alrighty, so that's it from me for today. Have a splendid week ahead. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.